We are live now, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. Thank you, and welcome to all. Thank you for joining our meeting via Zoom. And just a special hello to Leslie and Kathy and Kimberly, Doug, just to everyone, just for participating tonight. That's good. New faces, that's good too. So anyway, I guess approval of the agenda, or I guess maybe is there anything approval of the agenda? Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Kathy. Thank you. Councillor Little.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I might, could we just add member privilege, perhaps just before the item 6 next meeting?
Certainly. No, that's good.
And I would move.
Very good. Thank you. Kathy, seconder. I think we did have one, Mr. Harrison, Doug Harrison.
What was the motion there?
To approve the agenda.
Oh, the agenda. Sorry, I was looking at something else. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody in favor? With that one addition. Good. Thank you. And declaration of pecuniary interests. Anyone have one at this point or at any time? If one arises through the meeting, you can declare at that point. And next we have approval of the minutes. And the recommendation is that the Community Development Advisory Committee approve the 2021-07-19 meeting minutes as presented. So from July 19th. Any discussion on those minutes before we, any errors or omissions? Someone moves that the minutes be adopted as presented. Member Auckland, Member Briggs, Member Sicard. Take your pick there, Amanda. So, all in favor? Or was there any business arising out of those minutes that I might have gotten stepping too fast there? If there's nothing to nothing to discuss, we'll carry on. Thank you. Items for consideration. For discussion, that the Community Development Advisory Committee requests that if approved in the 2022 budget, the community garden pilot communities will be, and there are a couple of blanks there. So I guess the discussion is who or which community would like to tackle the community garden first. Is there any?
Well, the
I get-
Kimberley Community Association has discussed it, and we have the Kimberley Community Hall, as you know, in the heart of the village of Kimberley. And it is surrounded by grassy areas and the pond at the back that are municipal properties. And we see that, we see that as a possible area for a community garden, especially a raised garden. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Meaning
yep.
by a raised gardens, that they're about 30 or so inches high so that the elderly and the young can be involved, and they're not digging in the ground, but they're more at level. So we're certainly supportive of community gardens, even though we don't have a population that requires community garden support at this time. we would be more than willing to provide support for, you know, the, oh, excuse me, the food banks in, you know, Thornbury, Meaford, Markdale.
Well, that would- Yep,
In other words, we would provide the produce to within the community, but not necessarily our own smaller community, but the community at large.
very good. Thank you, Ron. And I
Thank you.
guess maybe before we get too far, when will this proposal be approved in the budget? Maybe Director Harris or Krista House, any thoughts on if it's going to be approved in the budget? Yes, go ahead there, Director Harris.
Thank you, Chair. It was approved last year. $20,000 was put in reserve last year in the budget process, pending us writing a report to council based on the feedback from this committee. So once we have some direction from this committee, we will go forward with the report. There is $20,000 sitting in the budget. Our estimate at this point was $10,000 per pilot garden.
Very good. Well, thank you for that. So there you go. Now we know we got some possible money to spend or to for setup for a community garden. Is there another village community that would consider? Yes, Kimberly. Ms. Briggs.
Hi. I always have problems with Zoom. Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think I spoke at length at the last meeting about, we discussed it at the Feversham Park Committee, and there's definitely interest. And if the produce wasn't consumed within the community, I suspect it could be, then we would connect with the food bank out of the Eugenia Flesherton area and donate there. And just a short form, because I know we spoke at length at the last meeting.
We're losing
we
you,
would
Kimberly.
definitely need in wildlife because we're surrounded by conservation area and the rivers, but definitely a lot of interest from
We've lost you.
our committee on behalf of the community of Feversham.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Kimberly. That's two. Is there other options, other communities that are willing hosts? Anybody else want to, or seeing as these are pilots there, do we want to, I guess, to see how they run the first year around to, or what's your thoughts? Mr. Alton?
Just had to get off mute there. Yeah, I just really actually have a question of Krista that I had talked to the lady at the Hanley Institute about perhaps sort of running one in Flesherton, and I know Krista was going to follow up with her. I just wondered if anything had come of that.
Krista, are you available? There you are.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to find my mute and my video button as well. Thank you, Doug, through chair to you. I have not had a chance to chat with the Hanley Institute yet, but it is certainly something I will follow up on. I unfortunately just haven't had a chance to do so yet.
Okay, thank you. So anyone else? So there's
I was gonna say Markdale with the CHC, we already do have a few beds in there. I think eventually it would be nice to increase that and make it more available, but I think just as pilots go, if other communities wanted to start, then we would be jumping in later, I think, just since the beds are there.
Yeah, okay, Kathy, you've already got your pilot going. Well, that's good. That there seems to be lots of interest, and I'm sure Rockland could participate too, but maybe in a follow-up year if one of these or two out of three, I guess we need two communities to be part of this resolution. So I guess is there further discussion, or I guess should we spread them out from one side of the municipality to the other, like Feversham and Flesherton, or what's your thoughts? Or is there any what happened there? Seemed to be.
Mr. Chair, we
Yes, go ahead.
talked about it for Flesherton, but there already are beds in Flesherton which are not being used by the community. We were looking for someone who would sponsor and actually organize and run it, and that's where the Hanley Institute came in. But
Okay.
as I say, in terms of it's not on municipal property, the existing ones, so that perhaps is an issue that needs to be resolved. But as I say, we already have one or a set of beds in Flesherton, which frankly aren't being used at all. So I don't think it would be wise to put more money into something like that at this
Okay.
time.
Yeah, okay, Doug, thank you for that. Director Harris, did you have a comment? No?
Thank you, Chair. I was just going to comment that I think for the test projects, we were looking at doing them on municipal property so that we would have all of the infrastructure. That being said, if Krista House is able to connect with Hanley and they were interested in resurrecting the ones that already exist in Flesherton, they would certainly be able, and I'm thinking perhaps they could apply through the community grant program to work through those as another option if they were very keen. I think the biggest, the gardens themselves will be what they will be. And yes, we'll come up with the best, we'll test them. Everything I've heard and heard it again at a senior managers meeting this morning is that, we need to make sure that whatever communities take this on, that they're engaged in this process and they're excited to be part of it, because we've heard too many examples of where these kinds of things fail because there's not community buy-in. So my instinct would be go with the ones who are keen as a test pilot for year one.
Yes, I would have to agree. So I guess that would be at this point Feversham and Kimberley. Was that would that make the most sense to the group? And then Markdale and Rockland and maybe Priceville could jump in at some point in the future. So I guess, do we need more discussion, or is Kimberley and Feversham acceptable? Maybe we should have a mover and seconder for this resolution. Well, you're on mute there, Ron. Member Auckland, you're on mute.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I can't move it because I'm Kimberly, so.
Oh, no, that's fine. I just, Jeff, did you?
I'll make the motion.
Well, thank you. And
I would second it.
Doug, thank you. That the community garden pilot communities be Feversham and Kimberly. All in
Wow.
favor? All in favor? Good, thank you. Carried.
Hey.
Yes, Director Harris.
Thank you. And I just wanted to, now that that motion's passed, I will write a report to go to council. It may not be till the first meeting in November, but I will put that forward with our recommendation, and hopefully we'll just be able to move forward with that since the money is all in the budget. And in the meantime, we'll start to do some of the groundwork on what's required and start probably having preliminary conversations with the communities in question to start talking about logistics, et cetera.
Great, thank you.
10,000.
Any further comment to that? I guess we've already approved it, so Director Harris is going to bring forward to council a
Can I just ask where the community gardens are in Flesherton?
Mr. Alden.
Yeah, through the chair. There are community gardens at the public school, McPhail Public School, off in a corner. But they're right off of Victoria Street and easily accessible. But in fact, they're just a block away from the Hanley Institute, which is why I was talking to them about it.
I can almost guarantee that Jenny Hanley would be very interested in this. She likes to get the youth really involved. I've been involved with her a little bit, and I can almost guarantee if I can get in touch with her, as long as someone's going to get in touch with her, she will certainly have the youth involved, which would be a tremendous thing.
Yes, I've already talked to her and she is excited about doing it. I think she's
Yeah.
just waiting on a call from Krista.
Okay.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. So this community garden pilot will be for 2022, and we'll be looking forward to seeing results. Yes, Director Harris. No? Okay.
No.
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. 5.2. Municipal facilities reopening process and updates. And the resolution reads that the Community Development Advisory Committee received the municipal facilities reopening discussion for information. So Director Harris or Krista or
I'll let Krista speak to this specifically. We did have a request from member Sicard to put this on the agenda. We've had lots of inquiries regarding the latest provincial reopening guidelines that are coming forward. The most recent one came on October 8th. I think it was Friday at 4:30 of the long weekend, the Thanksgiving weekend, for reopening on the Saturday, I believe. And I'm going to let Krista, but I just wanted to let everybody know we have a municipal emergency coordinating group who is responsible for making all of those decisions, because the municipality is still, like all of the municipalities in the area, still under a declared state of emergency. We do have a meeting tomorrow regarding this, and there is going to be a recommendation put through on how we are recommending moving forward to full capacity again. We can't commit to that until that group has moved forward, but we're hearing loud and clear that people want things opened up again. What I did want to just put on the record is that every time we make a decision related to opening. It's not just about us. We need to go to Grey Bruce Health Unit and get everything approved by them. Probably the biggest barrier so far is that we have to, after every time a facility is used, we have to have full COVID cleaning. So if a small group goes in of 10 people to have a meeting, we are required to have that facility fully cleaned after its use. And there are some significant cost implications to that, to have that done. You know, hopefully by tomorrow, the meeting is tomorrow morning. I'm hoping by noon tomorrow, we'll be able to advise you as to the latest, but we are looking at the provincial guidelines that are recommending or saying there's going to be opening to full capacity with physical distancing restrictions. And Krista, I don't know if you want to add any more to that.
So I think you pretty well covered everything. Again, just to reiterate that because the province announces a kind of a relaxation of regulation or capacity limits, we're not necessarily able to instantaneously respond to that. There's the cleaning protocol. Of course, there's also staffing considerations as well. And in some of the, I guess, the most recent communication from us through the Municipal Emergency Control Group in late September, things were still very contingent on cleaning protocols and staffing restrictions. So again, we appreciate your patience, and when requests come through, if we can't answer them, we do forward them to the Municipal Emergency Control Group. And again, sometimes that takes time to convene a meeting of that group. So you know, we certainly hear the community's concerns and requests to get back to as normal as possible. And believe me, we want to do the same. It's just sometimes it takes a little time. So as Michelle mentioned, there is a meeting tomorrow morning, and hopefully we'll have some updates to provide following that.
Well, thank you for that. Yes, Kimberly Briggs.
I had a question. Are masks required inside municipal if there's meetings or if there are events limited size or not? Are masks mandated in indoors?
Krista?
I can jump in there. Masks are required if physical distancing requirements can't be maintained.
Yeah.
That's my interpretation of the guidelines.
So as long as you're 6 feet apart, you don't need a mask?
We had a meeting today at the municipal offices. We were sitting in council chambers. There's plexiglass between each of the seats at council table. But as soon as somebody gets up, because the fronts aren't covered, everybody has to put on the mask. So it's still, you know, it's starting to open up, but there are still restrictions, and we're really working within that physical distancing specifications.
We had a KCA board meeting last Tuesday in the Kimberly Hall, the first time in a year that we've been in there. And Shirley Ann, who is the cleaner for the municipality, went in and set up the chairs and the tables. Also, there's only 10 of us, so we were upstairs in the hall. And then she had to come in afterwards again, wipe down all the tables again and the chairs and put them away. So it really is a mammoth job for the municipality to try and then also we wore masks in, but when we were seated and having the meeting, we had them off because we were socially distanced. But it really is a different world we're living in.
That is for sure.
I have a question, kind of a comment and a question. First, I apologize for missing so many meetings because I think there have been some things I perhaps should have been there for. We had a Maxwell Hall board meeting this past Monday, and there has been a lock put on the door, a number lock. Wayne Wright, who looks after the Maxwell Hall and has been for years and is around the corner, has requested the numbers for that lock. He does all our cleaning. He looks after every inch of that place. And the lock was put on, and the only way he got in was the back door. I'm just wondering why why that lock was put on without us knowing, and why we can't seem to, there have been emails sent to the municipal office, why we can't get that number. Are we not wanted as a committee for the Maxwell Hall anymore? We've done so much to that hall, and I should have been at these meetings to speak out for the hall, but it's been such a crazy year. And I just wondered where we stand on that. Like, Wayne, you're talking about cleaning the halls. Does this we pay Wayne as a hall board, we pay Wayne to look after that facility. We had this memorandum of understanding for years ago with the municipality regarding it. And there were certain things we maintained and looked after. We put new counters in, we've done most of the things that a lot of these small communities have done. And we all of a sudden we find a lock on the door with no notification. And the thing is, the water is tied in with the water for the municipality office, which is for the trucks and whatever. If they have an issue, they can't get in.
Well, thank you for the
So
question.
I just need someone to, I think we need someone to address issues like that. Like, if you're gonna have a cleaner come out, we need to know, because we already have Wayne, but Wayne needs to be instructed on the proper protocol as well. So, there's some areas here that seem to get lost in the shuffle. And I think that Maxwell and Badgerals are two of them.
Okay, Leslie, thank you for the question. It's either you, Director Harris or Krista, do you want to respond? Krista? Thank you.
I'll do my best. Leslie, Maxwell Hall is obviously part of a bigger and ongoing conversation. I have been in contact with another member from Maxwell Hall about the communication in between, and hopefully that's been resolved now. Keypads were installed on all municipal facilities, so it's part of moving forward. It's an effort to, keep track of people who are using the halls, who are moving in and out of them for booking purposes, and also now in times of COVID for cleaning purposes, because the municipality is responsible, of course, for making sure that the COVID cleaning standards are maintained, and which we've already mentioned. There's quite a lot of them. If Wayne needs a code, I'd ask him, and I've reached out and hopefully put the means in place for him to get in touch with Shayla, who's responsible for all our bookings. And so hopefully she can provide a code for him. And as well, we can certainly talk more about this offline with respect to the use of the hall and access.
Well, thank you for that. I guess having a memorandum of understanding, as Maxwell Hall does that make it any different than, say, Rockland or Kimberley or Markdale?
It's absolutely something that's on our radar for review, and to be honest, I'm not super well versed in it at this point, but it is something that we're well aware of that needs to be revisited.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's all we can ask. Thank you. So,
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Jeff.
Just wanted to get back to the topic regarding the COVID restrictions. As was mentioned, it was my request to put this item on the agenda. I have been contacted by a couple of different community groups who make use of municipal facilities, who had some concerns, and their concerns are kind of regarding what seems to be a lack of transparency over the whole emergency group and who's on it and who they report to and how it's reported, where are minutes, is there any recourse when a community group is just flat out told no in terms of hosting an event. Like I'm being told that these groups are applying to host an event and they're just literally getting a no. It's not a, if you change this about your proposal, you'll be able to have it, or we can't do it now because of this. There's never any answers for stuff like that. One item specifically that has come up is the restriction of 50 people, meaning 50 spectators in arenas over and above any participants, volunteers, staff, when the provincial restriction at the time and going back to July 16th has been 50% of capacity. So that's one specific question that has come up, but all the other items that I mentioned are things that these community groups are saying, why can't we do things and why aren't we being told?
Yes, Michelle?
I'll start by taking that one. So first, Jeff, when you sent that email, I am not aware, you alluded to a barbecue that was turned down. I went back to our notes and what went through to MECG. I am not aware of anything specific that was turned down. The process during COVID, when an event came forward, is that it went to the MECG group. The group was required to get Grey Bruce health protocols, and then the municipality would make a decision. I'm not aware of any, and we can have that conversation offline, but I am not aware of any that were flatly refused like that. So I'm not quite sure where that's coming from, but I'm certainly happy to look into that a little further. With regard to the spectators at the arena, and Krista's far more versed at this than I am, what the province says is what is available to open. We also have to manage our own restrictions. So we simply didn't have the staff. We were advised by Grey Bruce Health Unit that every time spectators were in the stands, we were required to fully clean between each of those uses. And after each ice rental, we had to vacate the premise and people had to go and we had to fog. So it was simply a logistics issue on how we were going to handle it at that moment. In regards to the MECG committee, that the members of that include the mayor, certain staff members, and all of those meetings in a state of emergency are considered in camera and confidential. The outcomes from that meeting are posted on the COVID page of the municipal website. So any decisions regarding changes in protocols will be posted on that site and published and communicated through our traditional municipal channels. Anytime a resident or a group is unhappy with a decision, they are most welcome to either appear before council or send it through to us, and we can put it forward for council consideration at any time. But how the MECG reports out is they report decisions through our municipal pages of the website, and they do report back to council in camera on a regular basis. So council is aware of the decisions that are being made.
Thank you. Is anything further, Jeff, before we move on?
Just through you, Chair, I appreciate the response. Maybe just more clarity to the groups. I mean, the thing about having to clean all of the stands and everything, that makes sense to me. The feedback I've gotten seems like that message maybe isn't getting to the groups.
You know what, and I appreciate that, Jeff. We've actually talked. We've talked internally about, personally, I believe communication is always at the crux of every issue that any business group always deals with. We've tried to communicate it. It's actually why I was glad you asked to put this on the agenda. This has been, and I'm not defending, we've been making this up as we go along, and I don't mean that that's not with good thought. We are, certainly the MECG is doing their best, but there's no playbook for COVID. So everything we do, it's calls to Grey Bruce Health Unit and doesn't always help. It seems that every time the province changes a restriction, it's on a Friday at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and they want it in place for Saturday at 12:01. And it just, we have the logistics piece that we have to deal. We may not have staffing available at that time to get the new protocols in place, but your point is very well taken. And I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure we're communicating well, and we will work to improve that.
Very good. Thank you for that. Are council meetings in person now or still virtual?
There's no spectators allowed in the gallery. There's a hybrid now. Some of our council members are coming in and some are via Zoom as well. So no people allowed in the gallery, but we're slowly trying to get back to some level of normal.
That'd be good. Yes, Kathy, you had a question.
Yes, sorry, thank you. I just wondered if we could add to that meeting that's happening tomorrow in regards to capacity, also the discussion about the timing for the arena. So as of now, we are still only allowed in 10 minutes before our rental, and it's really hard to get a team of kids dressed and on the ice. So we're really shortening our ice. We're actually not getting that full hour just because it takes them longer to get in. So I know my husband had some scheduling meetings yesterday with all the teen centers in Grey Bruce, and they're all saying they're getting a half an hour let-in time. So I just wondered if that could be discussed and maybe improved on.
Thank you, Kathy. All of that is on the agenda tomorrow, and I certainly hope that we will be moving to some level of normalcy. We've even talked about, if we move to increased or full capacity in the spectator stands. I mean, at one point it was, do you have to get everybody out and then fog? And we recognize that that's not a viable option either. So every time we come up with a recommendation, we've got to call Grey Bruce Health Unit, but I'm hoping you'll all be pleased, assuming that things go as we hope tomorrow. But point taken, and that will be part of the discussion.
Okay, that's great. And I just wanted to add, I don't know the cost of this. I know my husband works in manufacturing and they fog once every 30 days and it's supposed to be tested and repelling these germs. It's not every day or every hour. It's like a 30-day. So I'm not sure if what the cost of these kind of things, but I think things are changing. And there's some other options maybe out there for cleaning and for sanitizing. So just to be aware, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're monitoring that all the time. And, it's also a different level. As soon as you get into government and risk and liability, the requirements that we have to follow are a lot different than private sector companies as well. But we are recognizing that, this is continually evolving and we're trying to stay up on everything we can to get us back to normal as soon as humanly possible. I hope I have good news for everybody tomorrow.
Yeah, we're hopeful.
Yeah.
Very good. Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, sorry, I don't know if this is sort of off topic, but I know some of our counterparts, and maybe because it's Bruce County, have ended the state of emergency. Are we anywhere close to that? Or
so what I do know is that the Grey County municipalities want to make sure that when they do it, they all do it at the same time. I know it is brought up at the county level and reviewed through their county emergency thing. I haven't heard any update. I may get an update tomorrow, but right now, all of the municipalities in Grey County are still under the state of emergency as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
Thank you. Jeff, did you have another comment? No? Okay. No, that's fine. Anyone else want to comment on the hopefully reopening of facilities? Because I know it's a little frustrating for groups to want to do things and we're not able to access the buildings, and it's getting closer to winter time again. So hopefully we don't go backwards in this whole COVID thing, and hopefully we head in the right direction yet. So anyway, I guess that was for
Mr. Chair, do we need a motion for that to receive that?
information. Well, I guess I was going to check with Amanda there to see if she wanted a mover and seconder to that, or whether it was just for discussion.
I'd like to make another comment on reopening, if I may.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. About 10 days ago, the Kimberly Hall was accepting rentals again on a very limited basis, but accepting rentals. And, we have worked for the last 6 years to make that hall accessible by putting in an elevator, ramping, automatic doors, handicap washrooms, a new kitchen. It's been a long, long process, and Michelle is very aware of that because she's been a big part of it. But last weekend, I don't know which group, on Saturday or Sunday, and they had to be a small group, they trashed our elevator. It is not operable, and it was the first weekend of rentals. Can somebody give me some answer on that, Michelle or Krista? What the hell happened?
Krista, do you want to take this one or shall I?
I can certainly take it. And if you want to jump in with any additional, you certainly can. Based on our investigation of the incident, we've chatted with the renters and as well with the elevator company. It does appear that it was an entrapment incident and people were trapped in the elevator for approximately 45 minutes, based on what we can gather. And the removal of the door was to facilitate people exiting the elevator. We have since had the elevator company come out and take a look. The door has been repaired. We're just waiting on one small piece of equipment to complete that repair. But the elevator, as far as I understand, is fully operational right now, and it wasn't nearly as bad as it looked. And it's our understanding that it was not a malicious act at all. Sorry, Ron, you're muted.
Yes, Ron, your mute button. You're on mute, Ron.
Mute. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, thank you very much, Krista, for that explanation, because it really shocked us when we saw it on Tuesday. And thank God it didn't happen when Nathan took me up and down for my ride.
I do have to tell you, it was sickening when we saw the pictures first thing Tuesday morning, right after the first weekend of rental
Yeah,
hadn't been used. It was,
I can totally believe you because when we had our meeting on Tuesday, and the first thing we walk in and there's all the tape over the thing and the doors all mangled. Anyway, I'm glad to hear that it wasn't anything malicious. Thank you.
Good. Well, thanks for that. Now back to the Amanda. Do we need a resolution here? Mover and seconder?
Yes, please, just to receive the discussion for information.
Very good. Can we have a mover for that discussion?
I will.
Thanks, Ron. Doug? Seconder? And all in favor? Seeing as we've had the discussion, we better be in favor. So thank you for that. I guess next on the agenda is committee meeting schedule. And that the Community Development Advisory Committee received report CDAC 2102, and that the Community Development Advisory Committee accept the quarterly 2022 schedule as proposed. And I guess the meeting dates were Monday, January 17th, Tuesday, April 19th, Monday, July 18th, and Monday, September 19th, which is a month early. But if there's an election next October. So we want to beat the election with our committee meeting. So anyway, is there someone move that we accept this report? Mr. Alton and Member Sicard. Very good. And is there further discussion on those meeting dates? Any conflicts, or it's a long way away to know whether you have a conflict or not, but just so all in favor of having these 4 dates for our committee meetings next year? All in favor?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Carried. So And I guess now I'll have the member privilege section here. I guess, Councilor Little, did you want to have a comment or two on this one?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just looking back at the minutes from the previous CDAC meeting, and a number of members of this committee had were notifying the rest of the committee of events that were happening in their communities. And I thought it was an interesting part of the meeting and very beneficial. Sort of the purpose of the meeting is to communicate with each other.
You are
So
correct.
yeah, I just thought it was important that it be on the agenda. That was my only reason. Thanks.
That's good. All right, who wants to start? Beaversham, Kimberly?
We
Go ahead.
have a couple of things, but firstly, I want to say that in the local paper, I saw the Priceville sign and the work that the Priceville group had done, and it looked absolutely amazing. So well done. I believe that's Doug Harrison and committee. That really looked really fantastic. And for Feversham, we've had a lot of visitors. I don't know if that's typical in our local parks, but it's been bursting at the seams, which is always a good thing, and really awesome feedback on the gardens and just the lay of the land there. So we've kept up with our village beautification. We're called the park committee, but we also decorate the bridges and such. So really good feedback. And I guess in COVID times, people appreciate just the green space that's quiet and large enough to sort of spread out. Well, had a good year.
Good. Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, I'll just make a few comments on Kimberly. Kimberly's been booming this summer. Not only the general store, but the new restaurant in the village, Hearts, has really attracted hundreds and hundreds of people, bikers, walkers, you name it. So the village has really been busy. As far as our KCA association goes, we've had no events other than we had our annual golf tournament in the end of August, which we weren't able to have last year. And we limited it to members only and only 36 golfers. And the purpose of it was not to raise money, but just to try to get back to some normalcy. And so we had it at the Markdale Golf and Country Club. They have a beautiful new outdoor patio. So we played our 9 holes and, had a wonderful lunch prepared by the club. And then we had 34 prizes donated by either members of our association, our corporate members, or other businesses in the area. So 34 out of 40 people went home with a prize. And it was no money raiser, no money paid, just have fun. And that was good. And also on November the 11th, we are having our Remembrance Day service, even though we know it may be outdoors at the back of the hall, but it is planned, and we are going to do it one way or the other. And so that's a little update.
Very good. Thanks, Ron. Yeah. Leslie, did anything happening in Maxwell that you want to comment on?
Well, I don't think there's anything at Maxwell Hall's a little different. We strictly look after the hall. As far as events go, I mean, there's the bowling and stuff, but that's all within the community center itself. I myself go to Feversham all the time. So I commend Kimberly and the rest for the gardens are absolutely beautiful. They had a ball tournament there this summer and it was fantastic. Everything was great. So I want to thank Krista for her comments about the hall, but I do think communication is vital because, like not telling us that lock was going on made us upset. And we don't want that. We want the communication ahead of time. So I think it works both ways. I have to be at these meetings more frequently. And if they can communicate when they do those things, that would be wonderful.
Good. Thank you for that. Doug Alton, you have anything from Flesherton?
Yes, if I can get off mute, here we go. Yes, a couple things, just a comment about, first of all, the number of people attending, I won't even call them event. Well, I guess you could call them events at the Flesherton Pond. Just yesterday, for example, I went by and there was a picnic going on. Not the greatest of warm days, but there were, I'm sure there must have been 8 to 10 cars in the parking lot, and picnic tables had been gathered together, and some families were having a big picnic there. And that's not unusual. I guess this late in the season it's unusual, but certainly there's been lots of people there all summer, and really enjoying the facility. So that's really good. In the same regard, we were the beneficiaries of a bequest from one of the late residents of Flesherton, $5,000 to the beautification committee, and we were trying to find a way to use that money to good end. And we happened to see in the council meetings minutes a few weeks ago that Councillor Nielsen had suggested that a swimming raft be placed at the Flesherton Pond, and that it go into budget discussions for next year's budget. And so anyway, it seems to us that I think $5,000 should make a pretty good dent in whatever the cost of a raft is. So that's something that we'd like to participate in, and we hope goes ahead for next summer.
Very good. Thank you, Doug. Jeff, did you have any comment from Markdale?
I do. Markdale Good Food Box has started operating again. So Good Food Box is a program of Grey Bruce Public Health. It's to help alleviate some food insecurity. And basically what we do in Markdale is it's a monthly thing. It's open to anybody. It's not a food bank type program. It's available to anybody who wants to participate. And it's basically group buying of high quality produce. $20 gets you one of those plastic shopping bins that you would see at the grocery store, practically full of high quality fresh produce. Excellent value. Connie Shaw is the coordinator. If anybody needs to get a hold of her, you can go through the municipality to get a hold of me, or I think Dave could probably even put you in touch with her. So it's, like I said, $20 a month, and we host it at the well at the Community Health Center. And what else? There was something else I wanted to say about it. It's a project also, like I said, Grey Bruce Public Health. It's sponsored by the Markdale Agricultural Society.
Very good.
Good.
Thanks, Jeff. And Kathy, do you have anything to add?
Yes, just our annual Boo Bash. We aren't able to do the haunted house and things that we have done in the past, but we're still doing the decorating contest. We did it last year, and we're hoping to have more people register. It's for businesses and residences to decorate their homes and lawns for Halloween, just to get some spirit going. We're in works to get pickleball going. It was a program that Markdale had going a couple nights a week, and we are working at trying to get that going again. I know Feversham with Lynn Mann has got it up and going, and Feversham with a good result, so that's great too. It's partnered with the rec committee and CHC, and Lynn and the CHC as well for Feversham. And then we're working with the municipality and Valley Homes. Quite a few years ago, our food booth in Markdale, it's been there for many years, but it needs a lot of repairs. So we're working on a rebuild, hopefully. So it's good that we've got some movement on that program or project as well. So a few things in the go.
Good stuff. Thank you. And Doug in Priceville?
Thanks, Dave. First of all, thanks, Kimberly, for the kind words on the sign. It's our second sign, and now people can recognize they're in Priceville coming from the west. We had one already from the east. And since we've had that sign, and we added an additional sign in that same area across from our cenotaph, which has created a fair amount of attraction as well. It's a scene of the old street, Main Street in Priceville, going back into, we think, around the 1920s sometimes. So it's coincidental that we just had a recognition of the cenotaph anniversary of 100 years in existence, and when it was unveiled on October the 4th in 1921. And John Butler with the Peace Committee called me a week prior and asked if we would partner and have some type of a commemoration, which we had, with a limited audience of about 30 people, I think, all outdoors at the cenotaph. And it says our intention still to have on November 7th, the remembrance service at the cenotaph again, where we will lay wreaths as we normally do. The other thing that's coming up in Priceville, obviously, is the weather changes, will be our ice rink again. It's our intent to go ahead with that as we did last year, and it worked out great last year. We're expecting it to even be bigger this year. Thank
Very
you.
good. Thanks, Doug. And I guess in Rockland, I guess some different club meetings have started to take place because we're able to get back in the hall just in the last 3-4 weeks. So yeah, things are coming around a little bit. And speaking of ice, I think our ice plant got turned on this week, so hopefully there's ice in Rockland here in before the 1st of November. And I guess Center Grey Lions are having a Zoom trivia on October 23rd at 7 p.m. If anybody's interested, it's with regard to a Halloween trivia. And my daughter Stephanie is the quiz master, and it's free. So if you're interested in Halloween trivia, I guess I'm not sure just how you connect. That's way above my pay grade. So, but there is one coming on. So I'm thinking.
You aren't going to be the next Jeopardy millionaire?
I'm a long way from it. Trivia isn't real good on my end either. But anyway, no, it's all for fun. So anyway, and it's free, and it's kind of a I don't know, there's knowledge you don't really need to know, but it's kind of nice to participate. So anyway, those are a few things that are happening in Rockland, and I'm not sure, maybe all of you got to Rockland to the ice cream store there on the corner of the old hotel. And I don't know, 37 different varieties of ice cream. So it was kind of a treat of the week, so to speak. So yeah, anyway, I think, and it's closed now for the season, but hopefully we'll be back at it eating more ice cream next spring. So anyway, Kimberly, do you have a comment? No?
Oh, Kimberly?
No.
I thought I already commented, but I do have one thing to add.
Okay. Well, you're on mute again.
I'm sorry about that. We refinished all of our picnic tables, like with a solid stain. And I know it's the end of the season now, but there are 8 of them out behind the hall. And so, think next spring, if you want to go for a picnic, they're there for you.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Okay.
So, and Kathy, did you have anything you wanted to mention with Hutchison's Corner, or we're municipally at large?
Not specifically, I guess, about council, just looking forward to getting back in the council chamber. I think it's certainly a lot easier being able to meet and be able to be in person and see everybody and socialize a little bit between, at breaks and so on. And it's nice also to be in this group and hear what everybody's doing. And I really appreciate this part of the meeting where we're all sharing, the things that are going on. It just provides a sense of optimism to hear what all communities are doing to sort of get us back to, being normal. And I just kudos to everybody in their communities for what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Alton.
Just to that end, we've had this sort of round table discussion about what the groups are doing each of the last several meetings, and I think Councillor Little actually brings it up as an agenda item to be added at the beginning of every meeting. I wonder if we could just make it a regular part of the meeting and have it on the agenda for each and every meeting rather than have to be added to the agenda.
I would think that would be an excellent idea. Amanda?
I will endeavor to do my best at that, but that is an oversight on my part. That the reason it's been missed. I'm sorry about that.
No.
No worries. We have people overseeing that have all kinds of knowledge and attended all kinds of meetings, so we can always add to our agenda, preferably at the start of the meetings. So if we just add that, and if there's something else at any point, they can certainly be added to the agenda. So I guess at this point, our next meeting will be January 17th. Oh, Michelle?
Sorry, Chair, can I ask, I've got a little update. I just wanted to give you a staffing update, and I was hoping Krista could just speak for a minute to give everybody an update on the rec master plan that we're undertaking. I know a lot of you know about it because she's had meetings, but I think it's important that we just have a quick update if you're okay with that.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. Go ahead, Krista.
Krista?
Oh, you're on mute.
I almost got through the whole meeting. Sorry about that, Michelle. I thought you were going to go first. Just to give everyone an update, we have engaged a consultant. They're called RC Strategies, Inc., to undertake a rec master plan for the municipality. We have, prior to the consultants being engaged, myself and the supervisor of Parks and Recreation have met with most of the community groups. We're still missing, I think, 3 communities, and I'm working as we work towards our final budget submissions. Following that, we're looking to meet with the remaining community groups to have an informal conversation about their kind of wish lists, wants, needs, dreams of recreation in each of the individual villages and hamlets. Further to that, there's going to be broader community engagement, and shall we say more formal community engagement undertaken by the consultants in the coming weeks. I'll help them coordinate, but they'll be the ones leading those particular discussions. Furthermore, the consultants have been on the ground in Grey Highlands. They spent 2 full days here last week. Maybe the week before last. Time is starting to blur together. And we have taken them out and brought them to every little nook and cranny and all municipally owned facilities and parkland spaces, and in an attempt to really understand the broad geography of Grey Highlands, the unique needs of the communities, as well as the broader needs at a higher level. So that work is ongoing. We're still in the kind of background document stage. We're providing them with all sorts of background information and minutes and strategic documents and things of that nature. And that process will continue until early in the new year, when we hope to have a final report to present to council early in 2022. So that, again, that process is ongoing. We're always taking community feedback. If you have questions, concerns, even if you've had your community meeting or if you've yet to have it, anything that comes to mind, please feel free to reach out to me directly via email, pick up the phone. I'm always here. And we'll make sure that gets directed onto the consultant, that they have it for consideration. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything further, Michelle?
Yeah, so I was just going to give you a quick staff update. As you know, Krista was our Economic and Community Development Officer, and now she's rocking the Manager of Parks and Rec portfolio, which I'm delighted is still in our broader department, but it means we've been short a body. We have hired a new Economic and Community Development Officer. He's starting with us a week today, October 25th. He's got a broad background in rural community development and economic development. He's coming to us from out west. He and his family are relocating back to Southern Ontario. So we're very lucky. His name's Daniel Steiner, and I will make sure he's at our next meeting to continue so he can meet with all of you. Krista is still going to be the point for the community side of things. We don't want to be continually giving you people new contacts. She's our front person for this, and because we're a small but mighty team, you know where to find us. On that second note, I did want to just reiterate, if you're hearing out there in the community any concerns, any issues, people frustrated, please contact Krista or myself. Give us a call. We both received the email ecdev@greyhighlands.ca. I'd so much rather you have somebody contact us rather than having things fester. If we don't know the answer, we certainly will do our best to find an answer for you. But I really encourage you, part of what this committee is around relationship building, and we can only have relationships if we communicate. So I just really share that with your networks out there. The final staffing piece that I wanted to let everybody know, many of you knew Robert Yanturno, our community heritage curator, who resigned at the end of June to pursue his personal passions and entrepreneurial life. We have hired a new curator who started with us 2 weeks ago. His name is Peter Whitehead. He is a more seasoned person. I don't want to say in age, I guess. He's closer to my age than Robert ever will be. He has been working as the curator in the Walt Disney Hometown Museum in Marceline, Missouri for the last 7 years. But his family, he and his wife actually have a home in Flesherton. So he's excited to come back to his hometown where he's been living, or they've been having a property. I think they're on Mary Street in Flesherton. He is now entrenching himself. He's looking forward. He's working on sort of a reopening for the museum in the spring. He's just getting himself acclimatized to it. But he's another great addition to our team. And I just wanted to let you know about that. Finally, I just wanted to let you know that the municipality, you may be aware of Burnside Parkette in Markdale, which is right across from the Home Hardware. There was $30,000 in a Markdale Hydro Reserve that was available. And Krista and I wrote a funding application for that to rehabilitate that park. It is parquet, it's in horrible shape. The bricks are coming up. It's terrible. And the best government grant I've ever seen, we heard within 10 days of our application, and we received an additional $128,000 to rehabilitate that park. So we're very excited. We're going to be putting in some lighting, a 3-season canopy. We're going to be tearing up all of the bricks that are there that are all askew and sort of re-excavating that thing. So it's, and it was community, like it was the Markdale Hydro Reserve, and we were able to leverage that. So that's kind of exciting. We continue to look for those grants, and most times you need some matching dollars with it. But if we can find a little pot of money, sometimes it's worth us applying for. So just so you know, we continue to keep our eyes open for those that would benefit any of your communities. So let's keep conversations going about that as well. If there's any projects that you think might that we could possibly sort of explore together.
Excellent.
That's it.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Am I on mute again? No, Michelle.
No, you're
just a
good.
Quick question. What was Daniel Steiner's role? What is he been
He
hired?
was the,
No, but what
he's
is-
been hired as the, he's going to be the new economic and community development officer. The role
Okay,
Krista had before she took over
Yeah.
the manager of Parks and Rec. So
Yep.
we've been down 2 bodies in our department and very excited. I think almost as excited as Krista is, since she's still doing double duty on a lot of these things. So we're excited that we'll be able to move some stuff forward.
yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments with regard to community activity? No? Okay. Next meeting, January 17th, 2022 at 7. And I assume it will be by Zoom as well, or can we meet in person?
Well, we can wait and see.
Well, we'll have to, I think, because
Yeah.
maybe there'll be a word tomorrow or in the next month, hopefully. Amanda, you have a comment?
I was just going to say at this point, all meetings are still being virtual other than council meetings. But come January of next year, it's kind of a shot in the dark at this point. So I
Yeah.
just left it
Yeah.
blank
No, that's fine.
and we'll go from there.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, we can always hope, eh?
Yeah. And
So,
perfect timing because the ball game is just in the first inning.
okay, well, no, that's good. That's why we're running through this. The next motion will be the last, that the Community Development Advisory Committee adjourn at, what time of the day is it?
8:15.
8:15. Thank
Yep.
you. At 8:15 until the next meeting at the call of the chair, which is January 17th. So hope to see you all in January and hope you all have a great fall.
And
So-
Chris,
And Christmas.
That too. And New Year. No, it's our meetings are so spread out, a lot of holidays happen in between, so it's good to hit them all. So anyway, we need a mover.
I'll move.
Doug Harrison and Ron Auckland. So all in favor? Good, carried. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everybody.